Jigging a Berkley Gulp Minnow jig this morning, 1/8 ounce. Walleye fishing. Not keeping them, I'm just hunting for a trophy all October. And I had to jig for like an hour for them to turn on finally. I'm hitting the sunrise bite right now. Just hoping to pick up a few until the sun starts to peek out and just work my odds over the course of a month for a big one, you know. Kind of a bad way of describing it, but I think you know what I mean. Shoot. There's a weird fish that was following me up. I think it was like a diseased catfish. It only swam on the surface and it kept chasing my lure all night. It's like your standard, slightly above average keeper sized walleye. Probably a 19 and a half incher. There's one. Awesome. That took a while. And way out on that current break. I rough measured that last one. He was around 18 and a half. These guys are hitting slow. I had one chomp me real close, probably a tiny guy, I'd guess. Yeah, another keeper range one. You know, 15, 16. There's one. They're picking up. 2 casts in a row. After 2 hours of jigging and one fish. Alright. Another around keeper size. You know, fat 15 to 16 incher probably. There's one. Right there. Saw the line twitch as much as I felt it. Another keeper range one. It's 4 now. One away from a hypothetical limit. Alright, there's one. The walleye's turned off hard, so I came over to this pond to do some jigging for crappie. Just jigging the same Berkley Gulp Minnow, but on a 16th ounce head instead of a 1/8. I'm jigging it a little bit softer. Yeah, it's a little black crappie started off. It's like a tree right there. fall. Feels a little bigger. Sweet. There's a tree and it gets deep right next to the tree. There's a drop off right by it, so there's a lot of structure right there. Yeah, a little bit better. You know, 10 inch or 10 and a half. Yep, there's another one. Good to see the crappie are finally turning on. It's been a really slow fall. I don't know if it's because the water's so low everywhere. It's like, I've never seen it this low in all the rivers and stuff, so the fishing's been different. But it's good to see these guys are turning on. Now I can go on some bigger trips for them. Yeah. You can barely see the tree. It's just sticking out a little bit out of the water because the top broke off. It's about like 2.5 feet to the left of where I casted. Yep, there's another one. Every cast almost. That's how it should be. That's fall crappie fishing. Awesome. There's a nice one. Sweet. You know, 11, 12 incher. There we go. Right off that tree again. I just lost a nice one. Heck of a crappie. It jumped and threw the hook on me. But these guys are usually pretty straightforward to catch when they're turned on hard in the spring and fall. Generally people just bend a minnow over them because they tend to feed up, or they work a jig over them. They're pretty willing biters when they're turned on. That's another decent one. Last one was just a hair under 12. This one's probably about the same. Alright, the gulp bite slowed down. I got a couple short strikes, so I scaled down to a 2-inch curly tail jig. Looks like you got a small guy on. Yeah. Not keeping any of them, but this one's still keeper sized. You know, 9 inches for New York. Just on this little bright colored 2-inch. There we go, got on the fall. There's a pretty famous method for scout casting for these guys, like figuring out which type of retrieve they want. If you roll the jig so it kind of undulates through the water, then you get half steady retrieve and half jigging. And once you do that and they start hitting, you can figure out which part of the retrieve they'll hit on the steady or on the jigging, and then you just do steady or jigging to be more efficient. So that's why I'm just jigging now. They seem to be hitting on the fall. There we go. See that tick in the line? It's probably hard to see, but I saw it. Oh, it's a smallie. Cool. And that same micro jig there, jigging it. You know, it's like a dusky orange with a chartreuse head. Nice little bass. There's one. I switched to a white curly tail jig. I've done well with that before. You know, every other jig I'm switching to is picking up a few more picky ones. This guy's really small. You know, probably maybe 9 inches, maybe 8.5. There's one. Got something here, a little perch or crappie. Yeah, baby crappie. Real tiny guy. Oops, fell off. I got him on this little micro jig here. I came back around sunset and try and take another shot at getting that big one that jumped in through the hook earlier. That guy's got to be like 5-6 inches. Real tiny crappie. There's one. Another tiny one. They're so shy now that all I can get to work is twitching this 16th ounce 2-inch curly tail jig. They're super jig shy. I even tried a little Panther Martin too, and nothing aggressive is working. So I'm just twitching this jig here. It's another small guy, 7-8 incher. There's one, right on shore there. Yeah, this guy ripped my curly tail in half last cast. I had to put a new one on. Getting a bunch of yearlings or whatever, younger ones. The ones I didn't get earlier. There's one. Just lost a tiny one. Fell off. Wish that big one would hit again, but he's probably sore-mouthed. I'll have to come get him ice fishing this winter or something, I don't know. Yeah. These are all ones I didn't get before. They're all smaller. You know, 7-8 inches. This one's probably like 8. There's one. Right on shore there. That one's a little bit bigger. Still a small one though. Oop, shoot. That one's probably 8 to 9.